All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth to rule well. This is going to be part 2. I'm going to try and keep this, under 20 minutes because my app isn't allowing me to record past 20. I made 2 videos yesterday, and they got completely deleted, man. So I'll just go into it. Psalms 106:1. It says, praise ye Yahweh, give thanks unto Yahweh, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. All right, so like scripture says, I believe I brought it out in part 1. It says that the Most High never changes, that way the sons of Jacob are not consumed, So if the Most High says he's going to save Israel, then that means he's going to save Israel, man. That's just point blank, period. All right. So I'm going to be going into how Israelites were Greeks. All right. They call themselves Romans. They call themselves all kinds of stuff, And I don't know if I brought it out in the first video I made, but let me just go to it. This is Acts chapter 2. Which I believe I did. And let me start off at verse 6. It says, now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born? Parthians and Medes, Elamites, and dwellers in Mesopotamia, and Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, and Phrygia, and Pamphylia, and Egypt, and parts of Libya, about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome. All right. Jews and proselytes, Cretes, Arabians, we do hear them speak in our own tongues the wondrous works of the Most High. All right. So I brought this part out first to show you where the confusion is, because when you go up, it says in verse 5, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven, and then it goes into the different nations, but they were strangers of Rome, all right? They were calling themselves Arabians, Romans, Greek, all right? But they were really Israelites, So in Psalms 106 and what was it? 27, it says to overthrow their seed also among the nations and scatter. Let me start off at verse 25. Psalms 106 and 25. But murmured in their tents and hearkened not unto the voice of Yahweh. Therefore he lifted up his hand against them to overthrow them in the wilderness. All right, because the Israelites certain Israelites came up against the Most High, against Moses. All right, they said, this Moses, we know not what happened to him. All right, so make us a god, so they started worshiping a false god, man, a false deity, a deity of Egypt. And now that I brought that out, let me see if I have this already out. A false deity. So let me go into this. All right, this is a Hellenistic Judaism. Salakia. It's taking some time. Hellenistic Judaism was a form of Judaism in classical antiquity that combined Jewish religious traditions with elements of Greek culture until the fall of the Western Roman Empire and early Muslim conquest of the Eastern Mediterranean. The main centers of Hellenistic Judaism were Alexandria in Egypt and Antioch in Syria. All right, so when people call themselves Christians, which I'll get into also, Antioch, and the apostle were called Christians first. In Antioch, Acts 11:26. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch, all right, which is named after Antiochus, all right, which one of the people that caused the Jews to call themselves Greek, all right, because of Antiochus Epiphanes or Antiochus IV. It says, and it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with that church or with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christian first at Antioch or in Antioch. All right. And this is Hellenistic Judaism. Let's look up that word Hellenistic. Is relating to Greek history, language, culture from the death of Alexander the Great to defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony by Octavian in 31 BC during the period Greek culture flourished. All right. So you had, let's look up the word Hellenized. It's Hellenized. To make Greek in character, to adopt Greek ideas or customs. All right. So when the Hellenization of the Israelites happened, that's really what was happening. You had Israelites that were conforming to Greek customs or ideology. All right. So when you see there's no difference between the Jew and the Greek, which is, the first video that I made, I brought that out. I believe it was in the book of, might have been Romans, was it? Let me see. It could have been Acts 16. See, Romans 12. Was it 12 or 2? Oh, yeah. Right here where it says Romans 10 and 12. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. All right. So that forgiveness, that redemption, to redeem. All right. When the Lord redeemed us with his blood, to redeem means to buy back. All right. You can't buy back something that isn't yours. You see, when you go to the pawn shop, you redeem your item. All right. You buy back the item that you originally came into pawn. You see. So that word Greek there is Hellen. All right. Which pertains to either Greek or made the customs of the Greeks your own. All right. It doesn't say it here. But let's go back over here and we'll go to the word Helen. It's going to show it like that. Let's go to Acts or Salak. Romans 10 and 12. Now go into that word again. There's no difference between the Jew or the Greek, Hellen. All right, which means a Greek either by nationality, whether a native to the mainlands or a Greek islands or colonies. So it's simply people that call themselves Greek. Like nowadays, you have people that call themselves American. All right, so back in the book of Psalms 106 and, 26 now? Let's start at 23. Yea, they dispersed the pleasant land, they believed not his word, but murmured in their tents, and hearkened not unto the voice of Yahweh. Therefore he lifted up his hand against them to overthrow them in the wilderness, to overthrow their seed also among the nations, and to scatter them in the lands. They joined themselves also unto Baal Peor, and ate the sacrifices of the dead. Thus they provoked him to anger with their inventions, and the plague brake in upon them. All right, so you had Israelites that started following after the ways of the heathen, and you had some Israelites that mixed the truth with heathen culture. So that's why you have this Hellenistic Judaism, which is a form of Judaism, all right, a form of belief based off of Judaism. It says with elements of Greek culture, all right, starting right here. With elements of Greek culture, you see? So that's why you had this devil that was set up, all right? Cesare Borgia, and it was so easy for him to put his image in there for the simple fact that Serapis Christos was a Greek Egyptian god that they worshipped at that time, and that Greek Egyptian god was set up by what's his name? He was after Alexander the Great. He ruled over Egypt, so he brought in the Greek customs into the Egyptian, and he brought the Egyptian into the Greek. Osiris, forming Osiris and forming Serapis, making him Serapis Christos. All right, so it says Serapis Christos was meant to form a bridge between the Greek and the Egyptian religion in a new age in which their respective gods were brought face to face with each other so that both Egyptian and Greek could find union in a specific supreme entity. All right. So like I read in the other article where it said in Wikipedia, Hellenistic Judaism was formed from mixing Greek and Judaism. So you had all these separate religions, all right, worshipers putting everything together. So when the Messiah came, you had people that actually believed that the Messiah was Serapis Christos, therefore calling him Christ. He didn't call himself Christ, and the people that followed him didn't call him Christ. They called him Mashiach, all right, which means Messiah. So it says the followers, the worshipers of Serapis are called Christians, and those who are devoted to the god Serapis call themselves bishops of Christ. And that reminds me of IUIC, man. All right, where they call themselves bishops of Christ, followers of Christ. It says, in fact, it appears that some followers of Serapis were eventually expelled from Rome when in 19 AD Tiberius also expelled the Jews. Now, why would the Jews be expelled, man? Because they were following after Yahweh Shai, So it says down here, Serapis is Zeus, all right? Because Serapis Christos is actually Zeus. Zeus Serapis Christos, all right? Which also known as Zeus Christos, which, who does that sound like? It sounds like Jesus Christ, right? It says Serapis is a Greco-Egyptian deity. The cult of Serapis was introduced during the blah, blah, blah. It says Zeus Helios Mega Serapis. All right. Now look at this image, man. Who does that look like? All right. Can't see that one too well. Who does this look like? That looks like Cesare Borgia, man. That's why it was so easy for him to plant his face in there. You see? Who does that look like, man? If that person, all right, if there was a person that looks like this with a white color to his skin or a pale color to his skin, guess what they would have him playing? Who would they have this man playing, man? They would have him playing him. All right? These are images of Jesus, man. So our people have always been this way, man. They always mix the truth with what isn't, And it happened time and time again, And it happened time and time again, man, And it's even happening right now. You have these people that are mixing truth, all right, with something that they feel is correct, which is a heathen thing to do, because the heathen go after justice and what seems correct. All right, but we go out after what the Most High says is correct, man. So Psalms 106 and 30. Then stood up Phinehas and executed judgment, and so the plague was stayed. And that was counted unto him for righteousness unto all generations forevermore. They angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sakes, because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips. So Moses went off, all right? Does that mean he's not a righteous man? No, man. You have righteous men that go off sometimes, It happens, but they're still nonetheless righteous men. And the righteous men are part of the elect, all right? It says, they did not destroy the nations concerning whom Yahweh commanded them. So you have a lot of these Israelites that are talking about, man, we all got to come together and we all got to be friends. What happened at that time, man? All right, when the Most High said, destroy those nations. What happened to peace, love, and prosperity and everybody coming together? It's never been about coming together, man. It's never been about mingling yourself with the heathen. All right, verse 35. But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works, and they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils. All right, so Israel has gone off time and time again, man. You know, it ain't nothing new. There ain't nothing new under the sun. You know, so I'm going to stop it there. Lord willing, this video actually saves, you know, and then I'll put out a part 3. You know, so with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, and double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. And Shalom.